Manikam.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Sai Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Swami Saranamayyappa. Welcome back, everybody. It's been how many days?
14 days. I was just counting.
It's been a while. We like to apologize okay, I won't say I was sick. I don't like telling the universe I'm sick because whatever you tell the universe, you get back, right?
Yeah.
So, guys, I went to go remove my back molars and I couldn't speak. So please forgive us for so many days.
I'm sure you missed us. I hope you did.
I know you did. Alright, so as promised, today we're talking about the Nataraja, the origins of the Nataraja rather. And for those of you who are watching the show for the very first time, you are currently streaming live with us in the Nation South on Actonville TV. Yes! And you're currently watching The Journey. It's about exploring Hinduism as a whole. I'm your host, Kimera, Heeralal, and by my side I've got Dashnee, Manikam.
Manikam, everyone.
Alright, so we're going to take you through the show. You're probably like, why are these people going live so early? Have you guys seen the Nation South schedule? My God, we're going off at 2 o'clock.
But it changes so frequently and so quickly because yesterday we had such a good schedule when they get it out, and this morning when she sent me, I'm like, what is no. But as well as because it's our Adi time going to temple, and the times are just we have to work around the times that we are available.
Yeah.
So you can always go back and watch the show later on.
Yeah, you can. I don't know, it is lunchtime with some people who are working. I see it's 12:56 on the clock, so it's almost at lunchtime. You can catch us live. Yeah. Alright, so let's talk about the Nataraja, the origins of Nataraja rather. Okay, so what do you understand by the term Nataraja? If you don't mind me asking. If you don't, it's okay.
No, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So Nataraja, which is the Sanskrit word, means a lord of dance. The Hindu god which Lord Shiva, everybody knows, the destroyer. And is formed as the cosmic dancer, represented in the metal or stone in many Saivite temples, particularly in South India. So what else do you have to say?
Okay, so according to my research, guys, so I've contacted many South African gurus.
Yes.
Remember, we're in South Africa, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
And if you want to join us in conversation, you can comment at the bottom of the screen. As you know, we are streaming live. Yeah. Okay, so looking at the Nataraja as you explained it now, I'm just going to go a little bit in depth if y'all don't mind. Please feel free to interact with us and share your beliefs, your wisdom, your knowledge on what you know on the origins of the Nataraja. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Now, from what I have in my homework, my research, Nataraja, as we were speaking earlier, Sanskrit, it's basically Romanized. And in Tamil we say Nataraja,
yes.
Right? So it's also known as Adalvala. Am I pronouncing that correctly? She's the Tamil speaking girl,
Yeah, I would assume it's right. I'm not, I Tamil, but I don't know our language so fluently. It's very broken.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it a little bit, guys. So it's known as the Adalvalan, according to what I learned, right? And it's a depiction of the Hindu god Shiva. Now, Shiva, he is as we know him as the divine cosmic dancer.
Yes.
Now, his dance is called the Tandava.
Yes.
Right? So the pose and the artwork are described in many Hindu texts such as your Thevaram and your Tiruvasagam in Tamil, and the Amshuma Dagama and the Uttarakamika Agama in Sanskrit. And we also talk about the Grantha texts as well. The dance murti featured in all major Hindu temples of Shaivism and is also well-known sculptural symbol in India and popularly used as a symbol of Indian culture as one of the finest illustrations of Hindu art. Now this form is also referred to as Katan, right? So if you look at it, everybody knows the Nataraja. I just wish the director had a picture of the Nataraja for us to use, but there's so many copyrights, we're afraid to use certain pictures
of Lord Nataraja.
Alright, so as we're talking about the origins of the Nataraja, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Dr. P.K. Maestri from the MSK Temple on Starling Street in Malaysia South. It's also known as the Meenakshi Sundara Swara Kovo. Now, Dr. P.K. Maestri is explaining to us his version of the origins of the Nataraja. Check him out.
Good evening to the viewers of our famous Actonville TV. As discussed previously in our presentations, Lord Shiva is one of our first guru, and then all the enlightened gurus in the hierarchy of gurus, and depending on their position on the step ladder to the gods and goddesses and the great saints. In the seven heavens, Lord Shiva is the final in the Savaloka and the finality of everything. In the human being form, he is seated on the snow-clad Himalaya mountains and is seen in a yogic position and meditated while his eyes are slightly ajar, watching over his creation here and all creations everywhere. In the Sivalingam form, it belongs to the class of nature where the Hindu symbols usually are mathematical in form. They are called the natural because they are not only representing a reality, but to some extent are the actual vehicles of power within that reality. So the lingam, as we just completed to say a few lines of Lord Shiva in the snow-clad mountain, we needed to say something about the lingam. And we're talking about the lingam being in its reality, and everything that you see is real. The lingam is elliptical, symbolizing Shiva's Shakti, i.e., that means the primary polarity of positive and negative forces. The whole universe is founded on this principle. From the first Brahman emerges Shiva Shakti, the father and the mother of all that is. Shiva is not only an aspect of the Trinity, but is the dedication and regeneration aspect, but again the highest God, the father of all gods and the cosmic logo. The sex symbol aspect in the lingam defines the principle of opposites, and nothing can exist in the phenomenal universe without its opposites or contrast. So everything is opposite. Even Shiva Shakti is opposite. And then everything that you know becomes opposites. The lingam represents the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The energy is dual in nature. Shiva's energy is upward through the spine, and the Shakti energy is running through horizontally through the chakras. As you see in the temple, the lingam, the one part is upright and the other part is horizontal, and when the two forces meet, then that is the pure energy. Now, what is interesting in the Nataraja dance, we need to know what is the origin. How did it originate? So, by research, we've now found out that after the major wedding, the Tirukalyanam between Parvati and Shiva was over, all the creatures, all the personnel that were on earth at the time, the marriage took place in Madurai, and after that, Lord Shiva and Parvati were alone. And this is how it all started off. Lord Shiva asserted on that night, and he said, "O goddess, this is the night of supreme bliss. Please hear this auspicious and very wonderful truth, which destroys time, as there are neither births nor death activities." So we needed to know the background where it stemmed into the Tandava dance. That's the origin of the Nataraja. So he said that in order to bestow honor upon Parvati, she must always be known by several names, starting from the toe, ending up on the head. That is, I think, for another day. Now let's talk about more in detail regarding how the dance emanated. He said to her before this happened, "A good wife should establish herself permanently in a husband's home, just as the mountain firmly establishes itself at the ground. The qualities of wife has to be good behavior, or excellent behavior, have conquered sensuality, hardworking, does not get affected by sorrows or striving to maintain the home in the best way. So what has happened here? He started to lecture. He started to give a lecture on how a woman should handle the household and who she's in life, being the energetic force behind the consumption of Shiva Shakti. And then suddenly, inspired by Parvati's beauty, Shiva made music and began the dance of bliss. So the Tandava dance, the origination of Nataraja, was also called the divine dance of bliss. The soft and graceful lasya in the tranquility of the joy, Ananta Tandava. That's another one. Name. Ananta means bliss. Tandava is the dance. So it's under the bliss that symbolizes the cosmic cycles of creation and destruction, as well as the daily rhythm of birth and death. In the obstinates, Lord Shiva recited the 5-letter mantra, the Namah Shivaya mantra, in the 5 ragas set to 5 beats in this dance. With the neat footwork was marked by serenity and poise, and gracious body, and alluring with the engaging smile and sparkling eyes that reflected every emotion, full of varied expression, and she was performing the exacting movements effortlessly with Shiva. So I want you to understand, you're talking about Nataraja, and you might feel we're talking about a man, Shiva. We're talking both about Shiva and Shakti, how they're synchronizing this dance. As we said in one of the interviews, Nataraja is both male and female. So the left leg that you see in the Nataraja is Parvati's leg. And both together will be called Shiva again. The melodious music and Parvati's rhythmic recitals was a strength and joyful, precise footwork that was pure and interpretive with the Lord. Shiva, filled with extreme happiness and dancing in a rhythmic pattern, contained a sprinkle of the 5 elements of nature. That is the Tandava dance. Where the music came from is Nadiswara. He was playing the drums, that incessantly sounding Damat, Damat, and Damat. Lord Shiva was the king of all dances. Lord Shiva was the king of all dances in the very vigorous, manly dance. His jumping and quick turns were enthralling. The segments of Abhinaya with his hair, that's another word for the music, flying in all directions, and the serpent at his waistband. The Lord was dancing in ecstasy in Chidambara, representing the 5 syllables of Namah Shivaya. At one stage, Lord Shiva took a pose with his left foot raised above his head, but modestly prevented Goddess Parvati matching the same pose. From the drums in his hand, the drum sounds and alphabets were born. The swift-footed deer that he holds in his hand was representing the manas. The skin of the tiger that the Lord attired represented his ego, which he killed. The river Ganges was flowing out of his matted hair, representing mental power, wisdom, and the crescent moon that he wore was representative of the blissful of the soul. As we mentioned earlier, the power of the Ganges coming from heaven, landing on the Himalayas, the force was so great that it would have caused damage to earth had it not landed on his matted locks of his hair. We're talking about Shiva. And then he let loose the water onto the fields of the earth. The cosmic dance of Lord Shiva represents the five activities of creation, protection, destruction, embodiment, and release. In essence, it was representing the continuous cycle of creation. The very form of the dance posture was perfect. Its answer to gravity, balance, motion of the cosmos, and the same dance taking place inside every particle, and that was the source of all power. It was a symbol of his rhythmic play as the source of all movements within the cosmos. Lord Shiva rejoiced in the company of Goddess Parvati in a joyous mood. The goddess thought that her Lord's attention entirely centered on her. She slipped playfully behind him in sport, covered fondly his three eyes of Shiva and her two hands resembling the lotus petals, and asked merely, "Who is it?" When the three eyes were closed, the third eye is between the eyebrows, everything went dark. That was the power of Shiva's two eyes, the center being the sun and the others being the moon and the planets. So Shiva is then controlling everything that you witness on earth. Coming back to the Nataraja, it is Lord Shiva dancing his cosmic dance, which shows that he creates, sustains, and dissolves the world. Nataraja's left foot is raised and his right foot rests on a demon. The demon is symbolic of our pride and ignorance. The cosmic dance of Lord Shiva has symbolized this fivefold aspect of divine control of the universe, namely, as we said earlier, creation, preservation, destruction, illusion, and grace. When he dances, matter, energy, and sound are sorted out through the vibration of his drum, and such are the created by his moves. Shiva dances in the Rudra Tandava, or the dance of destruction, or the destruction of fire, creating wild thunderstorms all around the universe, even shattering the sun and the moon, and the stellar bodies with matted hair, marks of ash on the forehead, trident, drum, lifting his left leg and balancing over demon of ignorance. Can you imagine a dance in the Carnatic phase? The Tandava dance is called by certain other names, and this is the whole part of creation and destruction, all by a dance. Female and male parts of the Nataraja together they called Shiva. The origins of the Nataraja and one of the Hindu gods, Shiva himself, lie deep in history. However, the form we recognized most today may be said to have culminated around the 9th or 10th century in southern India. The Andava, that's the bliss, Andava Tandava is dance or blissful dance. The image of Shiva is taken from the ancient Indian manual of visual description, the Shilpa Shastras, that is called the science of rules of the sculpture. So basically, the Nataraja is a sculpture. It's sculptured in metal. It is also sculptured in stone, which contained a precise set of measurements and shapes for the limbs and proportions of the divine figure. Arms were to be long like stalks of bamboo, faces round like the moon, and eyes shaped like the almonds or the leaves of a lotus. The Shastras is a primer on the ideals of beauty and physical perfection within Hindu ideology. One of the earliest known Nataraja artworks has been found in the archaeological site at the Sanapat village in Odisha, which includes an inscription and is dated to about the 6th century. So if the Tirukalyanam took place immediately after the Tandava was arranged by Lord Shiva, now we are understanding this to be in the 6th century BC. The Asanapat inscription also mentions the Shiva temple on the Saiva Acharya's kingdom. Around the 10th century, it emerged in Tamil Nadu in its mature and best known expression, the Chola bronzes of various heights, typically less than 4 feet. Chola was an era of some kingdom, started off in the Madurai. Madurai at that stage was called a kingdom. So the Chola and the Pandyans were the great kings who then allowed for the design of the Nataraja. The Nataraja reliefs are also found in historic settings in many parts of Southeast Asia, such as Bali, Cambodia, and Central Asia. From the 11th century and onwards, Hindu devotees carried these statues in professional parades as priests followed chanting prayers and bestowing blessings on people who gathered for this purpose. Sometimes the statues be adorned to replenishment red and green clothes and gold jewelry to adorn the glorious human form of the gods. In these processions, the Shiva Nataraja may wear its legs wrapped with a white cloth or red cloth adorned with flowers and surrounded by candles. In a religious Hindu context, the statue is the literal embodiment of the divine. When the worshipper comes before the statue and begins to pray, faith activates the divine energy inherent in the statue, and at that moment Shiva is present. Sorry. Shiva constitutes a part of the powerful triad of divine energy within the cosmos of the Hindu religion. There is Brahma, the benevolent creator of the universe. There is Vishnu, preserver, and the Shiva, the destroyer. In this sense, it is not an entirely negative force, but one that is expansive in its impact. In the Hindu religion, the philosophy all things must come to a natural end so they can begin anew. And Shiva is the agent that brings about this end so that a new cycle can begin. So he is he's not the preserver, he's the creator and the destroyer. So everything has to start and begin again. The supple and the expressive quality of the dancing Shiva is one of the touchstones of Southern Asia and indeed the world's sculpture. When the French sculptor Rodin saw some photographs of the 11th century Nataraja in the Madras University around 1915, he wrote that it seemed to him the perfect expression of rhythmic movement in the world. I will repeat this. He said it's a perfect expression of the rhythmic movement in the world. In an essay he wrote that was published in 1921 that Shiva Nataraja has what many people cannot see, the unknown depths, the core of life. The eloquent bronze statue of the Nataraja, despite the impact of his formal beauty on Rodin, who knew little of his background, it's incomplete without an understanding of its symbolism and religious significance. The bronzes of the Chola period, such as Shiva as the Lord dance called Nataraja, arose out of the need to transmute the divine into a physical embodiment of beauty. The Nataraja is one form of Lord Shiva. Nataraja is the Lord of dance. The two most common forms of Lord Nataraja's comic dance are the Tandava and the Lasya. Tandava is the violent and dangerous form of the dance associated with the destruction of the world, and Lasya is the gentle form of the dance associated with the creation of the world. Lord Shiva performs the Tandava dance to destroy a weary universe, and then the Lasya dance to start the preparation for Lord Brahma to start the process of creation. So it represents the reality at the time of cosmic destruction. One of the benefits is for stimulating one's creative instincts, to get success, good health and prosperity, to get stability in personal and professional life, to get divine grace and blessings of Lord Shiva, and to get the removal of malefic effects of the various planets. The Nataraja temple in Chidambaram, all the action of the Nataraja symbol, the dance, is in Chidambaram. Chidambaram is the most famous and most sacred temple in Tamil Nadu. Unlike other temples which have names, this sacred shrine is simply called Koil. It is the most famous pilgrimage center for Saivites. It is located on the magnetic center of the earth. This is very important because we're discussing the origination of the Tandava dance of the Nataraja. Imagine, it is said that it is located on the magnetic center of the earth, the center of the entire universe. The stage where Lord Nataraja performed his dance is called Ambalam, and the stage where he performs in the center of the earth is called Thille. At this sacred shrine, Koil, God can be worshipped in three forms. One is the dancing form, the Nataraja, as the Sivalingam, and as the formless state or empty space. The temple is constructed by Siddhas, is a school of architectural form of spirituality, and everything, as I said to you, is cultivated and sculptured in Chidambaram. Therefore, in this human journey of the soul to the higher levels of consciousness, the ultimate aim or final goal is to see the wisdom, the light body of God. When an individual soul attains the body of light, it attains all the siddhis or boons, like appearing at two places at the same time, growing large or becoming small as an atom. Ramalinga Swamigal was sent to the world to reveal the secret of the Nataraja to the people of this earth. Vallabhar just said it is famous, and let's call Chidambaram Koil, wherein the dance of Nataraja is depicted. Saint Ramalinga taught that the false body of man must be transformed into its true form, and it's a body of light. The other matters associated with the dance of Lord Shiva, but I think they should be separated in the form of the rituals and the worship of Nataraja. That should form another topic. So I hope late this afternoon, you've shown great interest in the origination of the Nataraja, and also associated with Shiva, the man himself in the mountains, together with the Lingam, and then it culminates in the Tandava dance, the dance of Lord Shiva in Chidambaram in South India. And I thank you.
Dr. P.K. Maestri from the MSK Temple in the nation south on Starling Street, also known as the Meenakshi Deswara Kovio.
Yes.
And I'll call it the MSK. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. P.K. Maestri, for sharing with us your wisdom, your knowledge on the origins of the Nataraja. Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll come back straight after this commercial break.
Systems accessed.
Vanakkam.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Sairam.
Jai Shri Ram.
Swamiyasaranamaya. Welcome back, everybody. Good afternoon for those of you who are taking your lunch to watch the show. You are currently streaming live with us in Indonesia South on Atomville TV. This is the Journey Show. It's a show about exploring Hinduism as a whole. And if you're wondering why we're streaming live so early in the day, we usually do this at night. Well, due to our load shedding schedule in Indonesia South, in South Africa, guys, it's only happening in our country.
Sadly.
We had to go live now because we also got temple later. As you'll know, it's the mother's time, and now we're in the middle of a fast, 10-day fast.
Yeah, so the times really clash, so we need to work around those times.
Alright, so if you want to interact with us in studio today, please comment at the bottom of the screen as we are streaming live, guys. And today we're talking about the origins of the Nataraja. Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. PK Maestri, for what you've already shared with us and shown us. We're truly grateful.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to, my research on the Nataraja. Guys, please feel free to interact with us, share your wisdom with us if you've got another perspective or another belief or another understanding of the origins of the Nataraja. We'd like to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's look at, we were speaking about the symbolic the explanation behind the Nataraja,
Yes.
right? Okay, so I did explain my side and what I've learned from my research and all the different gurus that I've met up with, I've researched with, I've spoken to, they shared their wisdom with me. So the sculpture of the symbolic Shiva as the Lord, he is the Lord of Dance, right? And also dramatic arts. Okay, so with its style and proportions made according to the Hindu text on art, Tamil devotional texts such as the Tirumurai, also known as the 12 books of the Southern Shivism, and it's the state of the Nataraja and is the form of Shiva in which he performs his functions of creation, destruction, preservation, and is attributed attributed with Maya. And it's the act of blessing his devotees, basically. So thus, the Nataraja is considered one of the highest forms of Shiva in Tamil Nadu, and the sculpture of the bronze idol of the Nataraja is actually worshipped in almost all Shiva temples across Tamil Nadu. Now, it basically typically shows a Shiva dancing in one of the Natya Shastra poses, and it's holding various symbols which vary with historic period and region, trampling upon a demon shown as a dwarf, also known as the Apasmara or the Moyalaka. Now, this is who actually symbolizes spiritual ignorance. So if you notice, all of our deities, samis, whatever you refer to them as, our higher power, most of them help us with ignorance.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
So if you look at the classical form of the depiction, it appears in a pillar of rock cut temple. A lot of people know it as Siamangalam. And this temple was actually constructed by Pallava king in Mahendravaram in the 6th century CE, which is actually quite interesting. And if you look at the significance behind the Shiva dance or behind the Shiva symbol, he dances to actually help his devotees, whether it's protection, whether it's conquering demons or evil. He's basically doing the dance. For those of you who don't know, what's dance now got to do with God, But it's something so beautiful that if Shiva dances, he's sending out these cosmic energies to protect you and save you and help you. Yes. So what's your take on the Nataraja, the origins rather?
Okay, so again, we all have our own beliefs, but this, I think, there's not much of to say our own beliefs because it's the origins of Nataraja. Okay. So I feel like you've given a good explanation. So I feel like I want to explain the form.
You can.
Of that.
Go for it. Yes, you can.
So in most common types of images, Shiva is known with 4 arms, flying locks. So we all have this image when he's in a ring of fire and with his arms. I'm going to explain the image that we all know of Nataraja and the meaning of it, okay? So it's flying locks dancing on a figure of a dwarf. So you know the Nataraja form, and then there's like a dwarf at the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. So who is sometimes identified as Asparama, a symbol of human ignorance, as you
Which I explained, yes.
Or it also means forgetfulness or heedfulness. Shiva's back right his back right hand holds the damaru,
Yes.
which is hourglass shaped drum. I think we've spoke
Yes.
about the damaru before.
Yes.
The right front hand in the abhya mudra, the fear not gesture made by holding the palm outward with fingers pointing up. The back left hand carries Agni, which is Agni meaning fire, in the vessel or in the palm of hand. And in the front left hand is held across his chest with the Gaja Hasta elephant trunk. Pose. So you know the pose that he's in.
Yes.
So it's the elephant pose.
Okay.
Elephant nose pose. So we will go further into the topic of Bharatanatyam,
Yes.
where I think it's described more in detail
Yes,
of
it
the
is.
form and the mudras. Mudras is hand gestures that in this form of Nataraja that he shows, which has meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the wrist limp and fingers pointed downwards and uplifted left foot. The locks of Shiva's hair stand out in several strands. Could you please help me with this word? Interspread with flowers, a skull, a crescent moon, and figure of Ganga, the Ganges river. We also spoke about this in previous videos before.
It's actually interspeared if you think about it. If you think about the English, sorry about that. Yeah. No, but it's interesting.
It is.
And what were you saying, Tom?
So the one of the figures of the Ganges river,
Okay.
personified as a goddess, is also appeared in his image.
And it's
His figure is encircled by a ring of flames. The Prabha Mandala in the classic Sanskrit treatise of dance. This form is the most common presentation of Nataraja. It is called Bunjan Kastrasa, trembling of the snake.
I'm so proud of you. You got that right.
Hey, so even with the words, like there's no simpler words to put it. I might have stumbled upon
Yes.
many words, but I add those I don't know Sanskrit words. Like there's always a twang or a how to say it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit difficult for me. So mind me. So that was his form,
Okay.
explaining each symbol of him.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, so guys, as we're talking about the origins of Nataraja, and we got special performances for you today, as we're not going to keep it all education and all boring. No, we're going to have Kiran and Nevi from the US of A. Yeah. All right, they're going to perform for us the Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Yeah.
Check them out.
ईश्वर सत्य है शिव है शिव ही सुंदर है जागो उठ कर देखो जीवन जो तू जागर है सत्यं शिवं सुंदरम् सत्यं शिवं सुंदरम् सत्यं शिवं सुंदरम् सुंदरम् सत्यं शिवं सुंदरम् सत्यं शिवं सुंदर ईश्वर सत्य है सुंदर सत्य ही शिव है सुंदर शिव ही सुंदर है सत्यं शिवं सुंदर सुंदर ईश्वर सत्य है, सत्य ही शिव है, शिव ही सुंदर है। सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम, सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम।
Kieran and Nimi! They're from United States. Shout out to you guys with a Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful
It was
song.
beautiful.
It was.
They always bring some beautiful music to the show.
Don't the Sai sisters look like twins? They do
Aren't
look
they
like twins.
twins?
No, I think they're not twins, according to the director. Alright, guys, so if you want to stay tuned for more entertainment and more education on the origins of the Nataraja, don't go anywhere. We're coming back straight after this commercial break.
The ultimate accessory, the latest shiny thing, mesmerized. Trying to keep up, but never getting ahead in an endless cycle of spending. In this world of constant upgrades, do you want a bank that takes your money or a bank that takes your money seriously?
Manikam.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Sai Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Swami Saranamaya. Welcome back, everybody. If you just joined us, we are still streaming live in the Nature South on Atomville TV. This is the Journey Show, the show about exploring Hinduism as a whole. And if you want to interact with us in studio today, please do so at the bottom. Well, yeah, at the bottom of your screen. Yeah, you can do it. I was going to say at the bottom corner where it says live chat. My favorite thing to say.
Yeah, but please do comment
Yeah.
your views. Whatever you want to teach us, you correct us or teach us.
We could have missed something. It's not a show to fight.
It's not a debate.
Yeah.
It's all about learning. So
Yeah.
also like and share it with other people. If you want somebody to learn something from us, please do share.
Yeah. Alright, so talking about the Nataraja, right? The origins of the Nataraja. Let's talk a bit about that, right? Now, I decided to go a little bit in depth on this topic. So, we were talking about the word Nataraja, as
Yeah.
you mentioned before, right? And there is a Sanskrit term, okay, from the Nata meaning act or drama or dance, right? And the Raja meaning king. I'm going to name my son King.
So you didn't know Raja meant king?
No.
Yeah, it does.
I didn't. So now, if you look at it now, Nada means act, drama, or dance, and Raja means king, meaning lord even.
So it's like the king of dance.
Yeah, that's it. Alright, so it can be roughly translated as Lord of the Dance or King of the Dance, according to Ananda Kumar Swami. Right? Now the name is related to Shiva's fame as the Lord of Dancers or King of Actors, if you want to call it. Yeah. Okay, and the form is known as Nataraja in Tamil. Okay, so according to the Tamil Nadu, that is right, the Nataraja. That's where the word comes from, and you could say this. We learned this from North India, guys. So the research I was doing in North India actually helped with the show today.
That's great.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much. And if you look at it now, with all three terms meaning Lord of the Dance, like the Nataswara stems of the they call it the Nrta. Okay, same as Nada, which means act, drama, and dance, and Ishvara meaning Lord as well. So if you look at it, Ishvara is another alternate equivalent term for Nataraja, and it's found in first millennium sculptures and archaeological sites across the Indian subcontinent. And if you look at it in Tamil, right, he's also known as Sabasan in Tamil. I was actually thinking English you have to translate that would be like Sebastian or something, you know? Alright, so if you look at Sabasan, which is split into Sabail, Adam, Isan, which means the Lord who dances on the dais. This is present in most Shiva temples and is the prime deity in the Nataraja temple at Chidam. It's called Chidambaram.
Yeah, I've actually heard that.
You heard of it?
Yes.
So, if you look at it, the dance of Shiva in Chidambaram forms the motive for all the depictions of Shiva as Nataraja. And I'd like to give a very big thank you to BK Maestri because he went in depth explaining the meaning behind it. And like you said, we're going to do another show on dancing on its own, especially in the Hindu culture.
So you know the Chidambaram you just spoke about, so that actually means an important Saiva, it's a temple in South India, and that is actually the heart of the universe.
Okay.
Right? And it's a place that identified both center of the universe and the human heart.
Okay.
And the gestures of the dance represents Shiva's 5 activities, which is creation, protection, fear, destruction, and embodiment. So that place that Chibanda, could you please say that word that you said again?
Oh, the name of the temple?
Yes.
Oh, the Chidambaram.
Yeah, it's a very good temple. A lot of people actually walk there in the snow and they go there just to see that.
Just to get there to do their whole spiritual take or walk or experience. Yeah.
So that's beautiful.
So interrupting us in the studio today, we are still talking about the origins of the Nataraja or the understanding or the meaning behind the Nataraja, which we've already been through. But if you want to share your comments, your beliefs, your knowledge and wisdom on this topic, interact with us at the bottom of the screen. Coming up next, we have Uncle Malcolm Munsami. Shout out to Uncle Malcolm. Today he's performing for us Ananda Muga. Check him out.
आनन्दमुगा मीरणरम्मा मीरणरममेमु शिवभक्तुलमम्मा शिवध्यानमे सुगं बन्दमणि जपवस्तिमम्मा आनन्दमुगा मीरणरम्मा मीरणरममेमु शिवभक्तुलमम्मा शिवध्यानमे సుందరనాథుగా శివడున్నాడమ్మా ఆ శివడు సర్వమే తానయనయని పాడవస్తిమమ్మా ఆనందమైన బ్రహ్మము లోపల సుందరనాథుగా శివడున్నాడమ్మా ఆ శివడు సర్వమే తానయనయని పాడవస్తిమమ్మా అంగముడోపలలింగమందున విందరూపమే నిండి ఉన్నాడమ్మా అందపింద జగమంద తానే నిండి ఉన్నాడమ్మా అంగముడోపలలింగమందున విందరూపమే నిండి ఉన్నాడమ్మా అందపింద జగమంద తానే నిండి ఉన్నాడమ్మా నిత్య నిత్య వివేక జ్ఞానమై జ్యోతి రూపమి తానే ఉన్నాడమ్మా ఆ జ్యోతి శివుడే జగముల జీవుడే ఆటలాడినమ్మా నిత్య నిత్య వివేక జ్ఞానమై జ్యోతి రూపమి తానే ఉన్నాడమ్మా జ్యోతి శివుడే జగముల జీవుడే ఆటలాడినమ్మా కారుణ్యనాథుని కరుణ కోరి కొని కువలయందున శుభము కోరి మీరు శివ పూజ చేయరమ్మా కారుణ్యనాథుని కరుణ కోరి కొని కువలయమందున శుభము కోరి మీరు శివ పూజ చేయరమ్మా దర్బనూర శివ సుబ్రహ్మణ్య దేశమునమరమ్మా దర్బనూర శివ సుబ్రహ్మణ్య దేశమునమరమ్మా దర్బనూర శివ సుబ్రహ్మణ్య దేశమునమరమ్మా
Malcolm Munsami, everybody, with Ananda Muga. Oh, we're going to see more of him, I think, because I think a lot of people just recently, newly got introduced to the show. So lots of people are sending in their content. Now, if you've got talent and you've got a smartphone with you, you can capture yourself.
Please do, and please send it to us. We will showcase it on our show. Your beautiful spiritual talent. It takes a lot to learn.
It does.
It does. You know, I wish I could.
Yeah. Guys, interact with us in the studio today, or if you catch the show later, you can contact us on our WhatsApp line. It's 074-660-5829. There's the number at the bottom right of your screen right there. If you missed the number, you can see it throughout the entire show. Don't go anywhere. We are talking about the origins of Nataraja. We'll come back straight after this commercial break.
Vanakkam.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Sairam.
Jai Shri Ram.
Swami Saranamayyappa. Welcome back, everybody. We're still streaming live in the Nation South on Atom World TV. This is the Journey Show, the show about exploring Hinduism as a whole. And if you want to join us in conversation, you can comment at the bottom of the screen, or you could just contact us on our WhatsApp line 074-660-5829. You can find the contact details at the bottom right of your screen throughout the entire show. Even if you join us a little bit later, please do leave comments, as interaction helps our channel to grow. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm your host Kimera Heeralal, and by my side I've got Dashnee, Manikam.
Welcome everyone.
And we are talking about the origins of the Nataraja. So we explain the origins, you explain the forms. Let's take a quick look at the depiction of the Nataraja, right? So I found out that there are there's two most common forms of Shivas. Okay, you know, with our deities and our swamis, there's many forms.
Yeah, there's like one deity, but there's many forms of them.
Yes, so please make sure you register that, especially if you're a non-Hindu. A lot of people tend to why does the god have so many arms? The god has so many. It has the same name, different forms, and then when they see it, to them it looks weird.
That's
Is that the right word?
But I also very much believe nothing in this world you need to explain. When you have such belief and faith, or you come to know, there's a thing called the truth.
Yes.
And, in every religion there's a thing of the truth. And when you come to know of the truth of what you believe in and what you will have no questions about. So I can understand their point of view. I wouldn't judge it. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
But you stick to your faith, you believe,
Yeah.
So what is your take on people asking those type of questions?
The thing is, why I asked you and my team to do the show is to educate people, see how well we understand Christianity.
Yes.
We understand why they do certain things. We understand the story behind the biscuit and the red wine. They have different words for it, but I just call it biscuit and red wine.
There's different words for
it. Yeah.
Okay.
They have different referrals.
Okay.
So every culture is very outspoken, and we understand. Okay, I don't know about you. I don't speak for myself. I understand the basics of the Muslim culture. I understand the basics of Christianity. I even understand the basics of Judaism, if you don't mind.
No, likewise. I feel like I also have my own understanding.
Yes.
So I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, right?
Right.
I feel like there's a very big difference between them. And I do believe in other religions. I do respect what other people believe in, and no matter what I follow and what I do, I still do believe in that, and I understand it. I don't question it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I feel like our religion is very, very. You need to really understand to not judge.
Now, the reason why I told you, like I was saying earlier, I wanted this whole team to do the show so we can educate others about our culture, Hinduism, just as well as how we know about the Muslims and the Christians and the Buddhists and the Judaism, all the different cultures that we know so well about, because it's out there. The information is out there. Hinduism, I noticed, not so much.
No.
Yeah.
It's not, especially that, say, in Christianity, you get that in English, besides of ones that speak tongues, but you can describe it a little very easily. Like, say me, if I'm on social media and if I come across something that has to do with Christianity, I always take it. Whatever advice, whatever scripture it is, I take it, because I believe in God is one at the end of the day, right? So even with our religion, I want somebody to, in any religion, if it's a sign, if it's anything that you see, to come across and take it.
Yes.
And be positive, because it's out there in social media a lot, they're bringing each other down.
Yes.
Especially people bring down Hinduism a lot.
Yeah.
So
Because they don't understand it.
That's
We get that.
Yeah, we get it. That's why we are to educate you, not to hate you that you
Yes.
don't know. But maybe you don't understand. And if one day if you come across a video or anything educational upon our religion, take it, learn from it. Because when I see something of another religion, I'm so happy to learn.
Yes.
Because we're out there in the world with so many different people, you can understand them,
Yes.
respect them, and that's how it is.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, as we're talking about the origins of Nataraja, I'd like to cut to Dashnee Style and Naidu and Sianda Mhlaba, all the way in Durban, guys. Today they are performing for us Delay Ambala Nataraja. Check them out.
கங்கை அணிந்தவா கண்ரோ தொழும் விலாசா சதங்கையாடும்
that was Dashnee Naidu and Sandam Klava all the way in Durban performing for us. Tele Ambala Nataraja. It was a beautiful performance. Thank you so much. We got Jessica Governor coming in on Facebook, giving us the prayer hands. Well, beautiful. Yes.
Thank you for joining our show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we come towards the end of the show, Jessica, join us again tomorrow. Subscribe to our channel so that it will allow you to see the notifications when we go live. Well, we come to the end of the show as we do this every day. The 108 principles of the value system from the Tirukkural. Today's lesson is number 33. Practice self-control, ladies and gentlemen. That's the lesson for today. All right, guys, from myself, Kimera, Heeralal, and Dashnee Manikam. Dashnee Manikam. It's been a long week.
Vanakkam.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Sai Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Swami Saranamayyappa. Good afternoon, everybody. Bye-bye.